Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you another amazing power pack session of Clay Dialogues. Quickly to introduce you, the host of the evening, Mr. Manish Porwal, Managing Director, Alchemist Marketing Solutions. Manish, over to you.
Thank you, Farhan. Thank you so much. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on you're watching live or later. Time again for another episode of Clay Dialogues, brought to you by Alchemist Marketing Solutions and its real estate division, Clay. My name is Manish Porwal, as you know. Given that my producers were running a tight budget, which was actually approved by me only, and being the managing director of Alchemist and Clay, I casually slipped into being your host for this e-talk show series featuring the real estate personalities. Now, my guests stand so tall that my being a pygmy personality in front of them, or me having a face for radio, not actually TV, doesn't matter as much. And while most of my friends were quick to speak good about me and the show, some genuinely actually did. So the production team has made me and this spot permanent for me. Bingo, there I am. Okay, I'm told to be somewhat serious, so I will be. Here it is. All my seriousness and all the English that I ever know will be utilized here in the show. Our industry is all about buildings, infra, housing, business, retail, and so on and so forth. It's about hope and aspiration for the consumers, and it's about ambition for us. As I've said before, it's probably the only industry which goes deep into the ground and then up into the skies. We cover Patal, Bhu, and Indralok, all of them for you. Like the industry, this program is not just about trying to appreciate the sparkling whites of the personalities that we talk to, but also reviewing the dirt and grime these captains go through, which make them who they are. Here we try and get to know these Turks and their stories better, upfront, closer. So yes, give us an hour or so at 4 p.m. each Saturday, please, for the next few before we end season 1 and make you wait for season 2. Actually, we just don't want our viewerships to dwindle. That's why season 2. But what's the heck? If you happen to miss this episode, you can watch it later on the Facebook page. But being live is another experience and allows you to ask questions to these leaders and adds to your live experiences, including the fact when we go through our blips. You'll see them all. For now, allow me to proudly announce our next guest, the youngest 56-year-old, self-made real estate tycoon from Sadi, Delhi. Someone who we were warned about would be happy to talk his mind and soul, and we should be bothered whether we can take it all or no. The Prince of Noida, real estate, and the king of the word, his word. A dynamic personality. Let's add to some drama with a video and see who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, presenting to you the chairman and MD at ATS Infrastructure, Mr. Getamber Anand, a man who's popular in the true sense of the word. He's not just led his own company for 31 years, but also was the national chairman of Credai for one of those. Getamber, a very, very, very warm welcome to Clay Dialogues, the e-talk show of the industry. How are you doing, sir?
Very good, Manish. Thank you so much for having me over at your show.
It's all our fortune. You were saying something, Getamber. Sorry, I interrupted.
All order to be here, and I hope I don't disappoint.
Of course not.
Answer your questions, and let's go for it.
Our questions are only to know you better, Getamber. We know you as a captain of the industry. We want to know how you are as a person. So that's the only thing. So shall we begin?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So as you know, Getamber, our show goes in 5 sections. I think we'll begin with a section called Shop Talk, which is all about you, your company, your relationship with the industry, real estate, and so on and so forth. and then we casually will slip into you talk, which is all about you as a person, FNF connections, you, friends, family, etc. Then we take questions from the audiences if we have them for you, and you will be happy to answer, I'm assuming. And after that, we get on to the last section, which is rapid cross-positions, nothing but rapid fire round, in which we'll ask you some quick questions where you need to not think, but feel and give those answers.
Okay.
I'll go into the first section straight away. So let me ask a very large question and allow you to answer the way you want to answer this. How would you comprehend the last 31 years, Getamber, for ATS? In particular, days of stress like these or of 2008 and 10, how do you comprehend these 31 years?
So I think, if you have chosen this work out of sheer passion and not because it has the promise to make good money for you,
Yeah.
then I would say these 31 years for me and my organization have been wonderful. Because, we've always, it's very challenging. Real estate is a very challenging business because you're always under scrutiny and always you have to perform, even better than what you had promised. So it's so challenging that you have to be very, very resilient to actually keep delivering again and again and again. So I think we have, as an organization, though we have had our ups and downs, though we have performed and also sometimes it's not performed as per the expectations of the consumer, we still stand tall, like you said in your introduction, the organization, not me. Because you see, the basic DNA of the organization is integrity. We run on moral ground, higher moral ground, and we try to deliver as best as we can on whatever we have promised to all our customers. So the last 31 years have been quite a seesaw. And fortunately, we have kept growing. And in spite of the dips, in spite of the challenges, we've kept growing because as an individual, I've always been very aggressive. I've been a risk taker.
Yeah.
Fault me for it. But I mean, that's who I am. Because I have a lot of belief, that if you do something with honesty and with the right zeal and effort, chances of failure are very minimal. You may not. So how do I think? I feel, we may not make money, too much money, but as long as we keep making a brand and a reputation, that will serve us sometime in the future. And I think that seems to be working quite well for us. So over the last 31 years, whatever we've done is, one thing we've done right is that we have built a brand, and that too is it's a very, very big challenge to keep that perception of the brand alive all the time, because you have set the bar for yourself. So you have to keep performing, and when you're growing and when you're expanding, then the challenge to protect the brand and the effort and the energy to protect the brand that is required is much, much more than you could even imagine. So we are always at it, and we have a wonderful team in the organization. We built a wonderful organization. We employ about 4,000 people, and all the people have a sense of ownership to the organization. They feel that they own the brand, they own the company, they own the philosophy of the company. So I feel that is one of the biggest achievements that we've had over the last 3 decades.
Your answer has opened up so many strings of questions for me, and I'm wondering where to start again. But I must apologize at the beginning. I'm calling you Getamber and not Getamber Ji. Because the energy is such. Is that all right?
You said I'm a young man of 56, so then let's go for it.
Wonderful. You are the youngest 56-year-old business tycoon that I have met so far. I'm very clear of that.
People actually think I'm on the other side of 60 because of my hair. So now you've just let the cat out of the bag, so they'll all know I'm just 56.
I don't want competition out there. A lot of women watching.
Oh,
okay, Getamber, coming back to business talk. You talked about passion, and I do agree. A lot of people have told me about you, that what you bring to the table is a lot of energy and passion. And I'm going to talk about that more about the section when we talk about you in particular. But you also said that money or no. I do believe what the reports say, and what I believe is that ATS has made a good amount of money for itself and while doing business for customers. How do you see these years of adversity, like today's or maybe 2008 to 10, when you also faced some adversity? Were they hugely different from other years, or you just continued the way it was? What's the difference?
So every downturn is very different from the last one.
Yeah.
And the slowdown of 2008, the slowdown of 90, I'll tell you, it was 97, 98, the slowdown of 2008, the slowdown of 2015, 13 to 15, then the slowdown that we are in today. Every slowdown is a different pedigree, and you can't treat any of them the same way, because at every stage of the slowdown, you are at a different stage of your business and career. So the challenges are very different. When you are at the nascent stage of your career, maybe the challenges are not so big. Maybe you haven't grown so much. Maybe your debt levels are not so big. So you are able to handle it much better. Yeah. And then as you keep growing, and if you've been growing aggressively over the last 2-3 decades, then naturally your size of operation has increased. Your footprint has increased. Like, we are working in 7 states. So, and also the debt size has increased, because I'm a first generation entrepreneur. So I had to leverage, I had to take debt, because I had no money of my own to begin with, not too much. So therefore, each challenge, each stage of the downturn has been very different for us as an organization. But let me say this, that, my biggest support has been the people who work within our organization, and the people who have, believed in us, the financial institutions, the bankers, all of them have stood by us and said, doesn't matter if this is a bad time, don't worry, because we've seen you come out of bad times, and we know you'll come out of every bad time, and we are there to support you in the future, because after all, we also have to do business. We are in the business of lending money. We are in the business of our customers too, they believe in us, and they say, okay, fine, we understand there are bad times, but you will deliver, and you'll deliver well. That is what we are known for. So all in all, I would say no downturn, no challenge has been the same. No treatment of the challenge has been the same. So I'm learning. We are all learning. And let me tell you, I'm ready to reinvent myself even today. Because, we all know that if you don't adapt to change, then it's the end for you. So this is what I personally feel, and this is what I personally tell my top team, that if I'm willing to change, then let's all accept change. Accept that there's something that we may have done right, some things that we may have done wrong. So let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go back to our investors. Let's go back to our customers. Because I believe, Manish, the biggest strength to an organization like ours is the support system of our customers and our bankers and our financial institutions and the entire body of stakeholders who work with us. So we can't just say, we will see this through ourselves, individually and singly. You can't say that. You have to tell everybody, see, there is a problem, and please understand that the intent is not wrong. It's the ecosystem or maybe the economy which is going through low. So believe you me, all our stakeholders at every recession, every downturn in the real estate space have been so supportive. And I'm telling you this for our customers also. Customers also have been extremely supportive, because see, we've got a huge array of customers, and maybe there may be 5% of the total volume of customers who still don't know us and don't know that we always do make good our word, like you said in the beginning.
Sure.
I use the word we because now this is the DNA of the organization. This is not Getamber, Anand speaking. It is ATS as an organization speaking. So maybe 5% don't understand what that we mean well, and we don't mean to shortchange anybody and don't want to take shortcuts. So the rest of them, the 95% of them, have always stood by us, and more than anybody else, our customers have stood by us.
So Getamber, your voice actually stands for not just you or your company, but it stands for the industry at large at many fora, right? Twin question at that. First, do you believe that this adversity or this change that we're talking about is any parallel to any other change before? Point one. And point two, one of the things that I've always heard from the customers as feedback to the industry is this: that look, when you were going good, you really took out the blood of us. And I'm quoting now somebody I know pretty well, who's a customer of real estate once, twice, thrice. And he says, you took out the blood of us when it was good times. Now bad times, you handle it, boss. I'm not here to handle your blood. How do you react to both? One, losing trust of the customer as an industry, and what do we do about it? And second, is this a similar episode the way we are witnessing it right now as we witnessed any time before, or do you think it's very different? And I want a very frank opinion on this, please.
So frankly, like you want a frank opinion, I'll give you a frank one. So in the last decade, let's take it for a decade, there have been people there have been three categories of developers. One who just didn't come into the real estate space with a bona fide intent.
Mm-hmm.
The intent was malified. Two, second category, and this first category was very small. We used to be fly-by-night operators.
Okay.
Number two were the guys who wanted to do real estate as a business, and they wanted to do an honest business, but they had no knowledge of the business. It was all hearsay. Buy a piece of land, give it to a contractor, give it to brokers to sell, and you've got a lovely business growing. So this is what they came into this real estate business. And the third was people who had been doing construction and real estate right from scratch from day one, who knew the business, who knew execution, who knew construction, who knew the details of the costs involved in a real estate project. It was not hearsay, they had experienced it firsthand. So the first category of people, and to say that, you drew blood out of us and now you guys have to pay back is not fair. Because it's a free market. If somebody was sold a house for 100 rupees, there was no pressure on that customer to buy it for 100 rupees if today the value of that house is 80. So it's not that house has been delivered. But in the first category of people who we call the fly-by-night operators, see, you can't defend the indefensible. Somebody has cheated people. If somebody has actually collected money for a project and then run away, there is no defense, for that person. And as an industry individual, as somebody who's also represented industry, it would be wrong for me to say that, poor guy, he didn't mean bad. There was no intent to deliver. So I will not defend that particular. The second category, so what happened in the last decade, a lot of people got into real estate, all three categories. There was the first category who actually got overshadowed because these were the guys who were the plodders. There were people, and these are people like us who actually, they said, okay, let the new breed come in because we know that at this price of sale, this project is not viable. But they were selling because the volumes were there and they were underselling, underpricing and selling. Somewhere deep down, we knew that these projects won't see the light of day. They won't get completed. Okay. But at that time, in that josh, when the new person comes into a business and says, नहीं, हमको पता है, हमने सुना है कि इसकी cost of construction तो आप बहुत ज़्यादा बोल रहे हैं, इतनी कम होती है, और हम ऐसे करके complete कर देंगे, सस्ता बेचो और फटाफट project complete करो. We to a point you can tell somebody, your thought process is wrong, but if they're not willing to listen, let them make their mistakes and suffer. So the second category of people are the majority in the last decade where we see these stalled projects. Now these projects are stalled. They were sold, but they were not completed. Right. In their defense, I will say this, Manish. In their defense, I mean, of course, it's wrong to say that this is something ये ठीक हुआ या ये गलत नहीं, ये गलत है. Right. In their defense, I'll say this: that the intent was not wrong. None of them have run away. They're not fly by night, so they don't come into the first category. Sure. They're still there. They're answerable. And when I say this, they're the big names who are still there, and some of them are, we know it. It's in public space. Some of them are even having to serve jail terms. Okay. So it is because of, not so much because of a malified intent, but it was because of a lack of knowledge of the trade and making wrong calculations, selling at wrong prices. And today those projects are stalled and the customer is suffering. Then there's the third category of people who, and those are people like us, who were the plodders and who did actually take in some more projects on an expansion spree. Because there was a part in the business, between 2011, 12, and part of 13, where things were looking good and a lot of people expanded. Now, these people actually meant well and they have delivered also, but their projects are delayed. They are not stalled. So some projects are delayed, some are delivered. So I would say, all in all, if you see an average of the three categories, there is a bad impression about real estate, which is, it's the mistake of so many people who jumped into it without even knowing about the business.
Understand.
So then to think that, that if this customer says now it's our turn to get back, it's not right, it's not fair. Let's all work together is what I've always told all stakeholders. Because even in a stalled project, if the man has failed to deliver and there was not a malified intent there, let us find a solution. And finding a solution today is possible because even government has given a stalled project, 25,000 crore fund, that Swami fund, to actually see that these projects are completed. So the guys who ran away with people's money, please arrest them, put them behind bars. But the people who fail to deliver, there is a solution available. Let's go and find that solution and let's give you possession. And the third category anyway will deliver. They may be a little late here and there, but then there's no worry over there. So that's how I would sum up the whole thing. And today, and let me say this here, Manish, unless and until people have learned, and in the real estate business, it's becoming more organized. You've learned that unless you're not compliant, well governed, more transparent, if you're not well organized, if you don't have an organization behind you, which has, various departments, including purchase, human resources, legal, accounting and finance, unless you don't have the whole gamut of the organization and you don't have a strong execution skill, maybe yours or maybe somebody who's partnered with you for decades, it's very difficult to do. So everybody has now reoriented their business. They're re-looking at the business, how to do the business. And I don't think going forward, there will be consolidation. That's what we've been talking about. There will be consolidation where the people who don't have organizations will join people who have organizations. They have land, but they don't have execution or organizations. So you'll see a very, very wholesome kind of a change.
I get that. Okay, so let me ask another question at this stage. Getamber, you are one of the very few people who are the first generation entrepreneur in real estate who made it so big. Of course, our generation takes time, and then you're one of the few. What is different? Like, for example, you talked about the team. How did you put together a team when you were an individual? You didn't have, as you said, you had debt to go to and not equity so much. How does a team come together in such a case? And in a real practical aspect, does it take more time?
So I'll tell you, yes, it does take some time, because you see, I have never done a job, so I was never educated how to put a team together. It was more by gut instinct, you need people, and then you see, okay, this person is honest and hardworking, and he seems to be a long-term player. What was different was, I have always led by example, Manish, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I don't mind, jumping into the muck and stuff like that. I love construction. It's my first, the first reason I got into real estate was because I love construction. I started out as a small time contractor who used to make drains. And I said, this is what I want to do in life. This open space, this mitti, this gandagi, I love it. So the smell of concrete mixture, mix and all, I just love it. So I led by example across. I tell you, in one of our first projects, I was like the guy. When you go to a hotel, there's a guy at the gate, there's a guy at the counter, there's a guy at the lift, there's a guy. I was that guy.
You are all of them.
We've all done that, right? I was that guy. And when my people who were working for me, when they saw that, and we had a small team, we started with 300 people, grew to 800 people, and then we 1,200, 2,200, and 3,000, then 4,000. So as we grew our business, the family also grew. And I'm talking about people who work in ATS. So 100%. When they saw, and I was very accessible to every person in the organization. My mobile number is accessible to each and every person in the organization, be it a foreman, supervisor, even a small petty labor contractor, any time of the day, 24 hours. So that was what was actually driving the entire organization, that let's all be Getamber Anand.
If you're part of them, you are lending not just your brains, but also hands and legs, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think that's what we will see in a video, which is just about coming up, Getamber. It's a very short video, but have a look, please, everybody.
It gives you a sense of ownership.
They get a lot of freedom to work.
Full authority.
Freedom to take decisions.
Wrong, right, he'll always support us.
If it was done in good faith, there is no fear.
It doesn't matter, I'll set it right. But don't be afraid. So people take a very honest decision. These decisions, they're not questioned.
A small sample of what people have to say. There's one more following up, and I'd like to show it back to back straight away from one certain individual who works with your CRM department. So let's have that video as well, please. Can we get that?
Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Mr. Getamber Anand and ATS. I have been associated with ATS for over 8 years now, and I continue to be in awe of this great visionary, inspirational and charismatic leader that Mr. Anand is. I had read somewhere that a leader is defined by 4 C's, which is character, competence, commitment, and courage. And Mr. Anand is someone who lives up to all of these 4 C's. And I will add another C here, which is compassion. I've always known Mr. Anand to be a leader who has tremendous amount of energy, somebody who's a very quick decision maker, and he's someone who believes in all his employees. He powers them with a lot of freedom at work. And but one thing that sets him apart is the fact that he's a very humble person and somebody who's extremely large-hearted, and he has touched most of us in some way or the other. I'm very thankful to Mr. Anand for giving me such an enriching experience and a journey with ATS. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, uh, Mr. Anand, so here are some people who work with you talking about you, and I think I've heard this unequivocally that people are saying that you get into things, you empower people. Is that your style of management? Is that what has got ATS to have those 4,000 people that it has?
Yes. So I feel, if you have to grow, then each person must have a sense of ownership and empowerment to take a decision. And
Yeah.
in the video, I was saying that, and I believe it. See, I have also taken many right decisions and wrong decisions, but it doesn't mean that if one of the people who work for the company take a wrong decision, they should be, if it is intentionally wrong, then of course they should be held responsible and accountable. But if it is meant in good faith and it goes wrong, doesn't matter. We'll look after it. We'll do the firefighting. But that's what I have told everybody across the organization, and that's what actually works for us.
Understandable. What we noticed while researching on ATS and on you, sir, was this. There are so many interesting things that you've done with respect to ATS. Maybe because maybe you are the first generation, that's why. But for example, you were one of the first companies to take a route direct to the customer. Channel partners coming second when you started. In fact, own team for construction. You also, I believe, tell your employees to visit the site at least once, irrespective of their job profile, even their HR people. Which of these decisions taken have sustained and have worked for you? Again, asking very, very frankly and straightforward and the way it should be. Hello? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Fran? Or
I can hear you, Manish, but I guess Mr. Anand's video is, it's paused. We'll have to check with him.
Let's get it back. And while we get him back, why don't we show another video to our viewers, which comes from somebody who's equally known in the industry, who's actually been to one of our shows. He had some great amount of regard for Mr. Anand. Mr. Anand, are you there? No, he's not. So let's at least show that video meanwhile on what Baman has to say, Mr. Baman Ivrani has to say for Mr. Anand.
Hey Manish, called me up right now and asked me to give a few words about Getamber. I can tell you I can stand here speaking all day, but I think the video won't go through. As you can see, I'm in the middle of nowhere, just enjoying the weekend with the kids. And well, let me sum it up for you. Getamber is an amazing leader, a great human being, someone who stands with you, he walks his talk. He's someone who's kind of built his entire life from scratch. His story has to be one of the most interesting ones, and I promise you I'm going to watch the video of it a little later when I'm back in the city. The guy has an abundant amount of energy. I always tell people that if you need to understand what energy is all about, you just need to meet Getamber. He could take a 65 or 80-year-old person and fill him with so much enthusiasm and energy just by what he says. He has the ability of, he's the leader that knows the way and shows the way. He's a leader who will stand with you. He's a brother in Delhi for me. He's someone that I have had the good fortune of working with when he was President Credai and I was the secretary. I can tell you he's brought so much enthusiasm, so much life, so much energy. Manish, Getamber is one of those guys, he reminds you of the movie Trishul, in which Amitabh Bachchan was there and Sanjeev Kumar says something to this effect about him. It's not important that he did it. It's important that he knew he could do it. The man has a steely resolve. He's got not one bad bone in his body. He means what he says. And he's absolutely, one of those guys that would just be with you. I can't think of any incident except that there have been so many times that, he just brings back the faith in humankind into your heart. And he just keeps on personifying goodness in every possible way. I wish him well always. And I wish to have a brother I wish to have him as my brother always. Hey, Getamber, all the best, man.
Isn't it wonderful? Two big personalities, somebody who already featured in episode 3 of Clay Dialogues, Baman Irani, talking about somebody so big in the industry again. I think, when I was talking offline to Baman, one of the big things he said was he's a man of his word. And I think that's what we've been witnessing. We have been talking about a lot of people talking about the fact that real estate finally comes good, or a real estate captain comes good only when he's a man of his word, because more is said than written down out there in those promises. So thank you so much, Baman, for having appeared for this video, even though you're the one enjoying the greens and you call it middle of nowhere. Love it, absolutely. We are still facing some trouble getting Getamber on, but please keep your questions flowing. And I wanted to, at this stage, tell you a little about Clay Dialogues and a little about how we've got about doing this entire thing. So what we do realize is that there have been thousands and thousands of webinars, viewers, many of them out there. They talk very formal. They do talk the industry the way it should be. People do not take stances. People have lots to say after and before, but not during the webinar. The production team of Clay Dialogues got together and thought, why not put together a show where people can be witnessed and people can be seen as people rather than just about the cloak that they wear. And that's how we came about India's first ever e-talk show, which is called Clay Dialogues. The idea is to keep this dialogue going. The idea is that we'll have 11 episodes in the first series, and we'll present them each Saturday to you, after which we'll take a bit of a break. And then we'll go on to dig the industry deeper. So we go on to exploring not just the owners, we look at CMOs, we look at chief construction officers, and so on and so forth, and then talk about how the industry has gained the shape that it has. The whole idea is to keep it going. The whole idea is to keep you guys having around us. I hope you won't leave us just because of small glitches like these, or even otherwise. So that's the whole idea. We have the next week's champion coming up, and I don't mind announcing the next week's person coming up right away as we take that little break to get Getamber back. Can we please, production, show our next guest to the people? Yes, absolutely. The Independence Day episode, which happens to be on August 15th, Saturday at 4 o'clock, will feature nobody else than Mr. Shailesh Puranik, the managing director at Puranics, the somebody who's created a lot in this entire belt of Thane and otherwise in Mumbai and beyond. Episode 9 will feature him in the Independence Day episode that we have coming up at 4 o'clock. So please do tell all the people that you know who would be interested in knowing what Shailesh has up his sleeves and in his mind, because he's going to share it all with us. As we go along, guys, we must tell you that this is going to be, Shailesh's episode is episode 9, after which we go on to 2 more, and that's when we end the entire thing. At this stage, I would absolutely welcome if there are any questions for me. I'm a pygmy, as I said before, but are there any questions that you may have for me before the Getamber comes back again? We're just trying to get him back. His internet is down, and that's the issue. And I believe the team is trying very hard to get him in the next 2 to 3 minutes maximum. But if you guys have any questions for me, please raise your hand. Production team, can you get them to upgrade and ask the question directly if required? I'll be very happy to answer those questions, and maybe we get some ideas on how to take this show forward.
So anyone who would like to ask questions, we can upgrade him, and he can come online and actually speak. You can raise your hand and we'll upgrade you.
Meanwhile, I'll take this little question from Miss Chatterjee, Miss R. Chatterjee. She asks, is it possible to showcase one of their dream projects? Well, that's a great idea, I think. What we have done is several times we've asked this question on what are their dream projects beyond their own. And that's what has been talked about last time. In fact, when we did show the Vadhva projects, we had that. But ladies and gentlemen, with that, I must also tell you that this show is more about the people, what they feel, what they do, the mistakes that we can learn from, that they have done in their past, the real self beyond the made up self that we otherwise see. So the whole idea is to also see those kind of those traits of personality from these people. So yes, we can show you dream projects, and that may not be a bad idea, but not too much time will be spent on that. So I hope that's all right. I'll take the other questions a little later. I think we are getting Getamber back. Sorry, my mistake. Are you there, sir?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. We dropped the link. Are we
That's
okay?
all
Are we
right.
good now?
Yes,
Okay.
very much. We tried to carry on the show without you, but it was not the same.
Aha. Well, I'm sure it was. So this is, we are used to handling crisis in real estate, and this is one small crisis.
Yeah, small one. That's all right. That we can do. We actually showed a video that Baman had kindly sent for you. So we'll send it separately for you, but we already showed it to our viewers, so we're not showing it. But he was so complimentary of who you are. And I think you both have worked at Credai together, right? As office
We
bearers.
work together, yes, and he's very biased, so don't believe him.
Well, I have no reason neither to believe you, not believe Baman. Both are absolutely fine gentlemen out there.
Thank you.
Okay, let me keep asking those questions.
Yeah. I've lost the sound. I can't hear you. Oh my God.
Manish, we can't hear you. We've lost your mic.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I think the computer heard so much of me that it muted my voice. Okay, first the face and then the voice gone. Okay, great. My question was simply like this, that I do know that you're nowhere close to anywhere close to retirement or anything, don't get me wrong. But have you thought of what would it be to think of your succession planning? Does it start very early or does it not start right now?
So, very interesting question. So, I've got 3 children, and
Right.
out of the older 2 are, of course, working with me. My eldest daughter and my son, and the youngest one is not interested in real estate. So, what we are doing, Manish, is that we are professionalizing the entire organization. And, at every top level, and we're looking at different verticals we are getting into. There's affordable housing, which has got a separate CEO. There's ATS, which has got a separate CEO. There is, we are getting into roads and infrastructure, which will have a separate CEO. We are getting into commercial real estate, which will have a separate CEO. And we, as you see, I would rather that we people, the family, keep, they keep thinking of new businesses and keep being the visionaries and keep guiding the business in the right direction. So the succession planning is basically that this organization will be run by professionals.
Wonderful.
I idolize Mr. Anand Mahindra because, of course, Reliance is too big an organization for me to look into it so closely.
Right.
I like the way Mr. Anand Mahindra runs his business, and it's totally run by professionals. But the family is there as visionaries, and they bring new businesses into under the umbrella of the brand, and you keep expanding and doing more work. So that's what I feel should be the model that ATS will follow.
Fair. I got that completely.
Yeah.
Mr. Anand, ATS's tagline is the better way home.
Yeah.
Is it just a cute marketing slogan or is there things behind it?
No, Manish. And we have to work very hard to keep that slogan believable. So, so I'll tell you this, that the experience a home buyer has with us should be seamless. The home buyer shouldn't feel that there is no accessibility. I'm very, very touchy on accessibility. My people should be accessible to my customers. I should be accessible. So much so that, I'm also very, very accessible to all customers. I meet them. I meet the ones who have big grievances because of the buck stops with me. So I feel that, the better way home is something that we've set the bar very high. And we will make every effort to have a very, very seamless, good experience for our home buyer. Be it our CRM, be it our construction site, be it possession, be it me, where they have certain grouses against the product or against the organization. So end to end, we try, but you can't please everyone when you have such a big customer base. And like I said at the beginning, there are 5% of the entire customers who you can't please them no matter what. So therefore, we try to do our best, and we try to make the experience a better one for our customers than they would.
So is accessibility a hot trigger for you? I mean, when you choose your land parcels, etc., is accessibility a big one in that sense?
No, I don't talk about that access. I talk about my people being accessible to my
I understand. Okay.
Like in transparency.
Okay. Got it. One question which I was asking when the connection dropped off was this, that you've done some very interesting things in respect to ATS, the first time things. For example, you did take a direct route to customers. You did create a construction team within. You ask your people, I believe, to visit the construction site at least once, even if they're HR or admin or whoever they
Yes.
are.
Yes.
Have these things worked for you? What has continued? What has changed? What have you kind of maneuvered around?
So,
And,
of
and,
course,
and the channel partner philosophy, what is it today in the company?
so when we were small, the channel partner philosophy, working without channel partners was working well. But then when you actually have such a huge volume to sell, you do need channel partners. So we
Sure.
have got a right mix. We do some direct selling and we do some through channel partners. But the philosophy of engagement for everybody in the organization still is very, very much there and live. And it has worked very well for us because, the pain of the site, हमारे बिजनेस में सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि whatever pain there is at site, for my site in charge, my project head, the pain should be understood by the head office.
Agreed.
Because it's normally what I've seen is that people at the head office operate through Excel sheets and through what they've been fed. If you go and experience the truth at site and you say, okay, for this small decision or maybe for this small quantity of material lacking, my site was stopped for 2 days. Probably, all our real estate friends will work much better. And this is what I've always told all our promoters and real estate developers. Please visit your sites, because unless the promoter is not visiting his site or her site, they will not be able to convince their senior leaders to actually do the same. And if they are not able to do the same, then believe you me, what will happen is that there will be delays, there will be quality issues, there will be lots of problems and complications. So once everybody's on the same page, you'll see a different product, you'll see a different ecosystem within the organization.
Get that. Getamber, the last question in the section, and we have overran our time.
I'm sorry for that.
No, that's all right. That's fine. But this section particularly, I wanted to ask you, so what are you most proud of ATS? What are those 3 words that you believe that ATS today stands for?
Assurance, transparency, and sincerity. That's ATS.
That is ATS today. Okay. I believe you started differently, and
it started differently, but now this is what we actually stand for. And try to stand for.
Wonderful. I'm going to move on now to you. If you were wearing a jacket, I would have said, please take it out. It's all right. Now but you can always fold your sleeve and get on with these questions. So here it is. And I'll take you, I'll probably do a little throwback, and it's called You Talk, which is all about you, your youth, your current energy, and how you take it, etc., etc. I think you started ATS in 1989 when you were about 25. And before that, grudgingly, I'm told.
1998, but I came to Noida in 1989.
1989 you came. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah. So you were 25 at that point in time.
Yeah.
I'm told you grudgingly finished education that you did. I'm going to come back to that. And then you started with rupees 40,000 given as peace alimony by your mother to start on your own and not fight anymore, or not have those, those tense moments between a typical father and son. You made some sewage tunnels, I believe. A couple of businesses failed, and then you founded ATS. We want to know your story of your early youth and early time when you worked and what you picked up at that time from, let's say, 1980 to 1989. A lot of grit, is it?
Absolutely. So actually, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings, and because we belong to a service class family, and my father tried to dabble in business but didn't succeed. So I was a good student, and my father wanted me to join the administration.
Glitch again. Am I getting heard? And is Getamber not getting heard, or is it the other way around?
We can't hear Getamber, Mr. Anand.
Okay. So, production, can you please get in touch with his people, and then we see where it goes from here?
Yes, immediately.
I think he's sitting in Noida, right?
Yes.
Probably something is failing out there in the internet. Okay, so let's go back to what we began with, which is the questions. So are there any questions out there that you would like to ask us on Clay Dialogues, and later, of course, Getamber? Please bring them on. Okay, I just have a comment here from Supriya Singh, who says, hi, an employee of ATS. I really believe in what our CMD says. These days are a sort of bump, but I hope we would rise and make all the dreams come true. I hope so too. Not easy times for the whole of the industry. In fact, not for the world. It's a difficult time. Most of the people who call themselves employee have to understand that nobody ever planned, or nobody can ever plan for such a catastrophe. If you were to plan for the catastrophe like this, then you will not grow. So sometimes for an employer, or for that matter, a person sitting on the other side of the desk, it's extremely difficult to manage the situation. And the only way he's able to manage or she's able to manage is when they know that people are together in this hour of need. So that's a reality that all of us who can claim to be employees need to face. That when the goings were good, there was absolute expectation of growth. And then when the goings are not good, then there is also a possibility of things going bad for the company. But people with material, people with strength, stay back. They bring back the old glory to the company that they belong with. So that's my little advice to people. And yes, I'm glad that Supriya is speaking such great things. Mr. Anand is back.
Sorry, sorry. I'm so sorry. This is our network here. Anyway.
That's all right.
Yeah. So when I was just out of college, and my deal with my father was, I'll finish my degree, I'll finish my graduation, and he said you have to be an engineer, because if, the lure he gave me was that कल को तुमको loan लेना होगा तो degree होगी तो loan तो देगा बैंक, नहीं तुमको 12वीं पास को loan कौन देता है. So I finished my degree, and then there was a lot of argument.
Sorry, I'm just interfering, but I must tell you a lot of commonalities in you and I. Of course, you're a big man, I'm not. But Bank, the Dena Bank and the father story remains the same.
Same. Yeah.
Dena Bank and father story is the same.
Absolutely.
Go on, sir. Sorry.
So then when I finished my graduation, I started dabbling in small construction projects in Punjab because I was in Chandigarh. And I didn't do a job. And there was a lot of fight between me and my father. And, as a young man, you blame your father कि आपकी वजह अगर आप business करते आज हम business कर लेते. So very unfair of me in retrospect. And hindsight, I see that it's very unfair of me. But then my mother, strong woman that she was, she actually packed my suitcase and said, "See, I believe in you, and stop fighting with my husband. You leave the house and you go and make your, career or whatever you can." And she said, "I know one day you will be successful." And this was in '89. And I came to Delhi and stayed at my sister's house for about 15, 20 days. Then I took a room on rent in Noida for 600 rupees a month. And that's all I had, 2 gaddas, a toota hua motorcycle, and I started doing contracting. And that is something which, at that time, if I look back now, so much of, there were nights when I slept hungry. There were days when I had no money to put fuel in my motorcycle. There were times when I had to drag my bike from Pragati Maidan to Noida because वो puncture हो गया या उसमें petrol खत्म हो गया. But there was no feeling of defeat. There was always this feeling within me कि कोई बात नहीं, ये तो निकल जाएंगे, ये भी कर लेंगे, because I was also a bachelor and I was responsible just for myself. So I never felt defeated, and I just thank God for that, because I just kept going, and one thing led to another. I did small contracts in Noida when I came, and then we started doing some builder floors and apartments in Delhi, and then we set up ATS in 1998. That's the whole story in short.
Nice. So aeronautical engineer. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah.
To real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, you really didn't like what you were doing that time, right?
I hated it. Yeah, I hated every moment of my college. I just didn't want to do that.
So here's a question, Getamber, and I don't know whether it's a fair question at all, but I'll still ask you. A lot of youth, they have a certain passion and they want to go towards it, right? And we always hear of the success stories, but we do not hear of the non-success. What is your little, if I may say, advice to people who want to follow something that they really want to, which is away from what their parents think they should do?
So my children are going to hate me for it, because they always make fun of me कि आप तो यही बोलते रहते हो हमेशा. I feel, if you get up in the morning when you're doing your job or whatever career you've chosen, if you get up in the morning and say, "Wow, another day, let me go to work," then you're in the right, a career or job or business or whatever. But if you get up in the morning and say, "Oh no, another day," then relook at what you're doing, because then definitely you can never be successful at that. And success is never a short thing, and success cannot be measured just by wealth or money. It is measured by how happy you are doing what you're doing. That's what I feel. So if you are passionate about doing something, there's no way you'll be unhappy doing it. So therefore, my advice to youngsters is, don't measure success with money. If you follow and chase money, the chances are it'll mostly not come to you. But if you follow your passion and do what you love to do, you'll do it so well that money will follow you. I couldn't have put it in a more comprehensive kind of a
Absolutely.
thing.
No, I buy both your points. One, success cannot be measured only in terms of money, specifically if you're going to be happy with it. So happiness could be that success matrix by that logic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given thing. The second thing is the fun in doing what you're doing and what you really want to do. So you're saying, go ahead, do it, and then obviously put all your application and all your aptitude towards that.
There's no effort required then. It's every day is like, it's a fun day. It's not like you don't
Party.
wait for the weekend.
Completely understand, and I believe it's been 31 years of party for you in that sense.
Absolutely.
Let me also ask you a related question. You got educated so-called for the loan from Dena Bank, that in that fear or whatever you call it, that happened. Do you believe education helps in the business of real estate, or do you believe that was time wasted?
So there are two things. There's literacy and there's education. Now,
No.
education is, people who are not literate, very, very well educated, because this is a very, I don't know how many people will agree with me, but this is what I believe. Education can be got on the street also. And literacy is got in your colleges and classrooms. But does it help in real estate? Education comes with experience. It comes with your exposure to people who educate you. Couldn't be teachers. They could be just friends, family, parents, etc., etc. People you look up to. But literacy, does it help in real estate? Yes, because as an engineer, let me say this. And today I know nothing of finance, but as an engineer, my thought process became a little structured towards construction. So therefore, it did help me. And to say that my years studying aeronautical engineering were wasted would not be fair. I think somewhere or the other, I can actually see the map in my head. That's because I've been there and studied that as a youngster. So it's very, and also it's my passion, like I told you. But what you said at the beginning, going deep down and seeing something rise up like that, you can imagine it, even if you're not an engineer. But if you have studied, drawings and all, it just helps.
So much of a passion, Getamber, but if I'm not wrong, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the things that you really wanted to chase was money. In fact, you saw some dreams. We'd love to talk about those dreams that you did of cleaning up cars in Abu Dhabi. That's what I believe is the case. So we would love to hear that. But what happened to all that chasing of money at that point in time? Is it any different?
So when you don't have money, obviously you say, and then, there's also a chip on one's shoulder.
Sure.
It's been drilled into us, at least our generation, कि जब तक तुम 20-22 साल के होगे तो तुम पे नौकरी होनी चाहिए, एंड देन जब 25 साल के होगे तो एक गाड़ी खरीद लेना, 27 साल में शादी हो जाएगी तो घर की बात करना, 30 में you must have children, 35 your children should be going to school, so etc. These milestones were set for us. Right. So for me, when I didn't do a job and I was without a job for 3 years after college, somewhere I started thinking that I failed. And there was, this 3 years, there was this passion, this desire, this greed to show my other friends, that I've made it in life, I'm earning money, so much money. And that, I think we all have a common kind of ground there, people our generation. So now I would say it is not so much so, because there's a lot of change in the way I think today. There's the entire thought process has evolved much better. And I won't say I was a capitalist ever, Manish. It was just that I wanted to prove more than to myself, but to my friends that, see, I'm not a failure. So that's
the money was more about self-worth than anything else, right?
No, more that, people shouldn't look at me as a failure, not self-worth. I felt I was doing great. But, लोग क्या सोचेंगे, वो एक हमारा एक पुरानी एक सोच होती थी. आज भी हमारे, in our country, it is, बेटे, do something, नहीं तो लोग क्या कहेंगे, तुम इस उम्र में ऐसे खाली बैठे हो. ये गलत है, मेरा कहना, मेरी सोच ये है कि it's wrong to say that.
So that has changed quite a bit, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me still hear that story. I still want to hear the Abu Dhabi story.
So when after 3 years I hadn't done anything after passing out from college, 2 years actually, I had a friend in school, and I didn't know what to do in life. So I had a friend in school who was from Abu Dhabi, and in school, when you're in school, you talk, मैं ये करूँगा, after that I'll do this, I'll do that. So he used to tell us, in Abu Dhabi, even if you clean a car, you can make 5,000 dirhams a month, and I'm talking about 81. So I multiplied by, I think it was 6 rupees to a dirham or something. You can still make 30,000 rupees a month. That's great. So when I was quite frustrated with myself, and I hadn't found what I want to do in life. And this was again in the late 80s. I thought I'll go to the Abu Dhabi embassy and I'll take a visa and I'll go to Abu Dhabi and I'll start cleaning cars. And then, I'll start cleaning cars. I'll make 5,000 dirhams a month. And then there'll be someday there'll be this sheikh whose car I'm cleaning. He'll see me and I'll impress him, sir. And then he'll say, do you want to drive? I'll say, yes, I do, sir. And he'll keep me as his driver. Then while I'm driving, I'll listen to what his conversations, because I'm intelligent, I'll give him some good suggestions. Then he'll take me in his company, make me a manager. And then one day I'll become a very successful guy in Abu Dhabi, and I'm driving down to the embassy and they refused the visa because I was a nobody. I had no sponsorship. I didn't even have a bloody passport. Yeah. So I just went to find out over there. How it works.
You actually wrote a soap opera for yourself.
And while I'm on the scooter, and then on the way back, I had an accident. Oh. Boom! Because it was, you can imagine. God. You realize, and then picking yourself up and say, you got nothing going for you in life. You don't even know what you're going to do. And then you're getting no's from everywhere. You don't have no money. And then you're going to have this accident. And then you say, yeah, life is the pits. Yeah. So, but still you say, no, but I'll still make it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's try something else. That's why I wanted to. Then somebody, some very successful man, he gave me a novel to read. And that really changed my perspective. And that novel is called Be My Guest by Conrad Hilton. Now that book has actually, it has helped me tremendously. And I have recommended it to so many youngsters. So in that, Conrad Hilton also earned his first, I think, $100 when he was 35. And he says that these milestones actually, they are so regressive for us, for our thinking. Because every time we miss a milestone, we think we are failures. You miss the next one, oh, now I can't do anything in life. So he says, who says you can't be successful at 40? Who says and success, like I said, is not just measured by money. Your success can come at any time. So if you are not successful at the age that prescribed for you by your parents or your friends or your family, don't think that you failed. It will happen. As long as you believe in yourself, as long as you do what you're passionate about and you persevere and be patient, you'll be there.
Got that.
So that changes things.
Slip into the next section straight away, which carries you into the friends and family bracket as well. And there are some questions out there. And I know that while we have less time, but I still want to ask a few questions. So I think your daughter Bani, right? She's also an entrepreneur, right?
She's my eldest, yeah.
Yeah, and she's the founder and CEO of All About Eve. Is it something you taught to her? Is entrepreneurship in genes? Where does it come from? Do you often kind of guide her in what she wants to do, or how does it work?
No, I stay away. If they ask me for advice, so Bani is actually, she's highly educated. She's an accounting and finance and from Warwick. Then she did her master's in real estate finance. She's very passionate about commercial real estate. And also, I thought, and when she came up with the idea of All About Eve, I knew she's going to make a success out of it. And, all I say to them, to the kids is, whatever you're doing, there's no rush for success. Okay. Keep at it. Keep persevering. Be patient. And if you are really, really passionate about it, you will get there. So she is her own person. And she is getting a lot of success in All About Eve. And also she is involved in our real estate business.
Wonderful. Touch wood. Let me ask a very simple question. When you began, and I think for many years, you did not see a Sunday, I'm told. You worked all through. When do you think the work-life balance actually took over? Did it come in, first of all? Or are you still in office on Sundays, or how does it work?
So if you ask my family, I have no work-life balance. But I think I do a fairly decent job of keeping a balance because, no, I don't work Sundays now. But unless, of course, required, and I don't really have to go to site now. But on Sunday, so there is. I've always maintained a very, very decent and very, very fair relationship with my kids and with my wife. So I used to definitely, make sure that we go out on family holidays once in 3 months for 4 days within the country, and then we just, bond and have fun together. So, and then the rest of the days, I started taking, for 3 years, I took no Sundays, 3 to 4 years. At a stretch, I took no Sunday off. It was too much because that time the business was growing and it needed me. And it was very understanding for the family to actually, let me be. But now I think I hope none of my family are listening, but I think I do a fairly decent job in keeping a work-life balance.
Got it. Getamber, another thing. I think your relationship with your father was a sweet and sour relationship, if I may call it that, for a certain time, right? Also, I believe that you were almost an atheist for a very, very long time. And then everything changed where actually you have the 4 P's that you follow. And,
Yeah.
and one of them is prayer.
Yeah.
And how does this transformation happen? What's the relationship that you now share with your kids, which is different from what you shared with your parents?
So actually, I always grew up because my father was of a very different mindset. He was a journalist, and he had his own ideas, and I was very influenced by his ideas. And I also actually grew up believing that there is no God and ये सब ऐसे ही बातें हैं. Until I was in 88, 89, my father had a heart attack, and that was the first time I looked up to the sky. He was in the operation theater, and I said, "Oh God, if please." And I stopped there. I said, "What a hypocrite you are. वैसे बोलते हो भगवान नहीं है और अब क्योंकि तुम्हारी हालत पतली हो रही है, so you're saying, oh God." So I felt very shabby with myself, and I said, "No, whether you're there or you're not there, I will do what you like, and I'm ready to face the consequences, whatever they are." So that was that, and then I became agnostic. Bhagwan hai to theek hai, nahi hai to theek hai, but I'll just go with both. Then in 2006, 7, and somewhere during that time, I was going through business, and 8 actually. With business was going through a lot of turmoil and all. And my wife, she said, why don't you just, she's very spiritual, and not that she does puja part, but she's of a very, very spiritual bent of mind. And she said, why don't you just go to the Shirdi Mandir and dekho tumhe shayad sukoon mile thoda. So much against my wishes, because I had never been to a temple. So I went there, and and I
We're losing some amount of your voice there.
Shirdi Baba, and I have Amitabh Bachchan connection. Can you hear me now? Is it all right?
Yeah, if you could say it again, the last sentence.
Yeah. So I remember going to the mandir, and this I never used to go to mandirs, and I remember this voice in my head, that दीवार वाला dialogue अमिताभ बच्चन वाला, आज खुश तो बहुत हो गए तुम.
I'm losing you again.
Anyway, and there were some fantastic days, and I kept challenging, God. Can you hear me now? Is it? Yes. I'm sorry, the signal has just messed up the whole program.
Yes, that's all right. That's all right. We'll go on with it. Please go on.
Yeah. So there were some fantastic miracles and experiences I had that day, and then I went after 3 days again, and I kept throwing challenges at Shirdi Baba. आज मुझे ये करके दिखाओ तो, and that those things used to happen, and then I was flabbergasted, and I said, I'm fooling with, there's some superpower up there which I'm just fooling around with. Why don't I just surrender? And when I said surrender, I just surrendered completely and totally, Manish. And now it's an other extreme. They say जब नास्तिक आस्तिक होता है तो उसकी जो विश्वास होता है उसका वो बहुत ही strong होता है. So today my belief in God is very, very it's extremely strong.
I get that. In fact, that's why those 4 P's that you follow. You want to talk about a little on them?
So like I mentioned before also, the first one is passion. The second one is perseverance. The third one is patience. Because वो आप सीड डालें तो पेड़ निकलने में कभी-कभी हम तभी छोड़ देते हैं, निकलने वाला होता है तो छोड़ देते हैं. So be patient. Once you're passionate and you're persevering and you're patient, you will see the fruit of your labor. And the fourth one, of course, is prayer. By prayer, I don't mean कि रोज सुबह घंटी आती. That's my way of looking at it. I feel that you should talk to the superpower, and you should surrender to the superpower. That power knows what is best for us. And I think complete surrender works very well for me, extremely well. So that is the prayer I'm talking about.
Wonderful. So moving on to the next section, but this time I'm surrendering to the internet issues. So we'll let go of the question answer session for now. You're most welcome to send the questions to us. We will ask them to Getamber, and I'm sure he'll find some time to write them back, and we'll put them on Facebook.
Absolutely.
just like we have earlier. So can you please send your questions? We will ask him and we will definitely post them back on Facebook. Sorry about this, but we want to do it before we lose him again. So moving on to the fifth section straight away, which is the rapid conversations. The one section, Getamber, where you're not supposed to, I know you have a very fertile brain and everybody knows that, but here you're not supposed to think. Here you're supposed to feel and quickly tell the answer. Is that okay? Yeah?
Yeah.
The answers may get you in trouble, but that it's all right.
No problem.
All right, you'll come off them. Then you can use your brains later.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, your go-to person. The first question, your go-to person for advice is?
I go to ऊपर सीधे कि मैं क्या करूं मैं फंस गया. It's people may sound stupid, but I never go to any human person. I just straight away look up and then I go to sleep. I say, give me advice. This is that fuck, yeah.
But you get the advice from there, because the second question I had was around this. Your go-to person for solace or calm. That comes from where?
Same thing.
Same. Okay.
Same. Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm doing a repeat, but encouragement. Where do you get encouragement from?
So I don't know. Encouragement comes from somewhere within me. There's this thing which just drives me on. I don't know what it is. Again, probably some kind of a blessing from up above. But
within you. Okay.
It's within me because I'm so passionate about what I do. So it just keeps coming.
Probably so. Your go-to person for entertainment.
That's actually that's my wife, and that's because I entertain her more than she entertains me, and so I love spending time with her.
I hope Miss Poonam Anand is listening to this entire thing.
I hope so too.
Okay, the fifth one and the last one on this question is your go-to person for being yourself. When you want to be yourself, who's it that you go to?
Again, my wife, because actually we're very good friends, and you know, I can just about fool around and be myself, and she's very patient with me. So that's
not bad. Lucky you. Wonderful. Question 2. What are you all about? Outcome or efforts?
Efforts.
Okay. If you were to change just one thing about you, what would that be?
Not to be judgmental about people.
Sorry, say it again.
Not to be judgmental about people.
Not to be judgmental. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, that's a good resolve. Who would you rather be irritable with? Kids or wife? Who's less dangerous?
Kids.
Kids. You're a smart man, as we knew. Read or watch? What's your poison?
Watch.
Watch. Suits or pajamas? What are you more comfortable in?
Neither, actually. I would just trousers, plain jeans or something like that.
But work clothes is what I'm hearing.
Work clothes. Work clothes.
Okay.
Please roll up.
Health mantra.
My health mantra is vegetarian and eat organic and don't do allopathic medicine at all.
Oh, wow.
Wherever avoidable.
Do you actually follow it? So is it homeopathy for you or allopathy? I mean, not allopathy.
That's actually again my wife's doing, because our entire family, you know, she's turned around everything and she's made sure we do Ayurveda, non-intrusive medicine, and homeopathy. Just about you know, those things. So it's all her doing.
And are you into gymming and walking and all of that, or no?
Only walking, so I make it a point to walk at least 10, 11 kilometers a day.
Wow.
Either at the site, or if I don't get to, it's something that just freshens me up. Like, I don't go to the gymnasium, no.
So do you often get out of the car and say, driver ko le aana aur main pahunchta hu?
Yeah, whenever there's a traffic jam, I've done that so often. I've just walked to the airport of that times when I don't have something to carry.
Nice, absolutely wonderful. Okay, your rival you envy but secretly admire.
Rivals, and so I feel I don't have rivals because I'm not that kind of a person. But I admire a lot of my friends.
Who do you secretly admire who's in your business and not exactly into your company?
So I don't secretly admire. When I admire somebody, I tell them, you know, you're a great guy, I admire you. And there's so many of them. So I can't take one name. There are many, many of them. And I admire all of them. And I'm very, very vocal. That's what I'm known to be. Very vocal about all this. And rivalry, no, I don't think I am that kind of a person.
Yeah, that's all right. Rivalry, keep aside. But you have to keep a name. You can put 3. That's all right.
So I admire Baman.
Okay.
He's a great friend.
He's like a brother. Society, I guess.
No. There is so much to admire about it. Within the profession, I admire Irfan, Prestige ke jo malik hain. We work so close. We admire within the NCR. there's so many guys. अगर मैं एक का नाम लूंगा तो बाकी नाराज हो जाएंगे. I just
मैं तो चाहता हूँ ऐसा हो. आपको भी तो कुछ डिफेंड करना होगा ना कभी.
But मैं भी smart हूँ, like you said. I have my NCR friends and they're more like brothers, so I admire all of them.
Okay, I'll let you go at this part of it. But next question is here. Your ultimate belief, is it self or God?
So the thing within ourself, which we call the self, is God only. So my ultimate belief is trying to attain that self, which is God within us. It's a big, big ask, and I don't think I'll be able to do it in this lifetime. But this is what I believe: God, which is within ourselves. That is my ultimate belief.
Fair, get that. Work from home or work from office in today's time?
Definitely work from home, because office, you see, there are inherent dangers. So till we have to, I think we should be safe and work from home.
Got that.
But we should go to our sites. That's safe.
Sites, yes. Understandable.
Yeah.
Bollywood or Hollywood, what is it for you?
Oh, Bollywood.
Full-fledged, okay.
Yeah,
web series or movies?
Web series.
Okay, and since you said Bollywood, I want to know your favorite contemporary heroine.
Contemporary heroine is Anushka Sharma, Deepika Padukone.
Nice, great, fantastic. Your vacation idea, is it India or is it abroad?
Oh, it is both. And I love going to Rajasthan.
Uh-huh.
And, yeah, maybe in some birth I was some guy in Rajasthan, and I love going to London also.
Getamber, after this, we need to have a post chat. I belong to Rajasthan, and there are too many things common except for the money. Everything else
is
very common.
Money, so that's also common.
Okay, wonderful. Old Hindi songs, new age beats. What is it for you?
Old Hindi songs.
Okay, favorite city in the world?
London.
Mumbai or Delhi? बोलो
बड़ा मुश्किल सवाल है.
है मुश्किल, आप बताओ.
I like Delhi.
Delhi, it has to be. Okay, your favorite eatery in NCR, and what is the favorite cuisine therefore?
So the best place where I like to eat in the NCR is at the 360 restaurant at the Oberoi.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My favorite cuisine over there is the salad they do, which I just love. The goat cheese salad. I just love it.
सर यही बस खराब बात है अमीर लोगों की. वो 5 स्टार में जाते हैं फिर सैलेड खा के आ जाते हैं. क्या फायदा हुआ?
5 स्टार में और दूसरे रेस्टोरेंट में कोई फर्क नहीं है.
Next meeting we have, and it's post the lockdown. Let's have it there. My treat.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Your superior construction but late delivery, or good construction but timely delivery. What is it for you?
Good construction and timely delivery.
Okay. Your favorite real estate segment. What is it?
Housing.
Sorry?
Residential.
Residential, but which one? Affordable, premium, uber premium?
Affordable.
Okay.
Affordable, wherein I give the touch and feel of a premium housing. That's my dream. And we've done this in tier 3, tier 4 towns also, where we've given lovely housing. My dream is to give a 8 lakh rupee home where the kids can go and have a swim in a swimming pool in the community.
Lovely. That's a beautiful feeling. In fact, I do know now of people like you who really, really dream to do that, and probably say that this is...
We will do it, Manish. We will do it.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. You're stuck in a severe lockdown for 14 days. Will it be ideally with wife, Puna, you're listening, friends or colleagues?
Ideally with my wife, anytime.
अभी आप घर बचा रहे हो, चलो ठीक है, मान लिया.
And she doesn't like it. She says, "यार तुम अब काम पे जाओ." But I say, I would love to spend time with her.
चलिए ठीक है. Okay, your favorite architectural benchmark anywhere in the world?
That's a tough one, and I'll have to think about it. I just doesn't come like that, because there's so many buildings that I like, so I can't just name one. But I like old architecture. I like the churches of Europe. I just love the way where they've these buildings without any steel. They've made these arches and all. I find them so fascinating. I love the forts of Europe.
Okay.
I love it, yeah.
Okay, one contemporary project in NCR which is not yours, but you wish it was.
One contemporary project in the NCR. And this is residential or commercial?
Don't think, just say it.
I think DLF does a great job with their office buildings, and DLF.
Okay.
I think they do some great work with their commercial projects, and like I said, I don't envy it, but I admire them for it.
I'll definitely tell this to Amit. Amit happens to be a client, and we happen to handle DLF offices. So I
Yeah.
will definitely tell him. That's great compliment. Okay. Your partner in crime, wife or one of the children?
Children.
Children.
One of the children.
Okay. The last one. If a movie was to be made on you, you're a tall, handsome gentleman, and of course seen life in various ways, including the Trishul way and so on and so forth. If a movie was to be made on you, who will you like to cast there?
As me,
Yeah, as you. Has to be a star.
has to be a star. Well, let me think who are the actors, because I'm not. I think
Go on,
Ranveer,
you're not paying for him right now, so don't worry. Just
Ranveer Singh would be a good choice.
Ranveer Singh.
Yeah, because I think he's got a spirit in him. He's got that liveliness in him, which kind of
Actually, Getamber,
Right.
I thought you'll choose Amitabh Bachchan, but now I think you're right. The energy levels,
yeah
the ability to stand for yourself, whatever you feel like,
Yeah.
whether the world is thinking yes or no about it, doesn't matter, is exactly you. So why not?
and
Absolutely.
he's also first gen. In that space, he's also first generation.
He is. Absolutely he is. And with that, we come to the end of the question answers that we had for you today. And
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that we had you here, Getamber, except for those little tech glitches which nobody can do much about. I think the audience would have enjoyed this show. And I want to, at this moment, we're not ending the show, we still have 2 or 3 minutes to go. But the question answer is over. But I want to quickly tell you again, once more, and Getamber, for you too, next week we have a personality again coming up. If we can show, absolutely right, Shailesh Puranik, the czar of Thane and various other places across in Mumbai. He's going to be there with us in the Independence Day episode on August 15. At this stage, let me also thank, Getamber, everybody gets to see me and I get all the popularity, but actually the people behind this entire show are the ones who I want to introduce you and the audience to. Quickly, can we have the slide showing the team? Thank you so much, Farhan, the producer of the show, Upasna, our CPO, Anandita, Mandar, Joanne, our digital expert, Rishi, who has been a backbone for the show all the way through, Kalpesh, Rohan, Shivam, Ranjit, Suyash, Manushi, Ekta, and Ashwin. All of you, thank you very much. As always, you've been great and you've been the backbone for this show. And before we move on, we want to show you something. There are 2 videos to show you. First, a little memory, down the memory show for you, Getamber, and for the audience to just quickly show you what has happened. A trip down the memory lane. Well, thank you so much, Gitama, once again for being a part of this show, for agreeing to be here, and for opening your heart out to all of us and the viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And look forward to seeing you offline for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With
Thank
this
you,
was the
Anand.
episode, and we look forward to the next one. Please be back. Tell your friends to be back as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Let's have the video.